kettő, egy, mehet! Now, before we get started, I know a lot of you guys are here for that sweet gear porn, so let's get that out of the way and then we can talk about how this project actually came to life. So in 3 days, this is our second super slow motion shoot with the Phantom Flex4K. Today we have a bit of a different setup here. We are using a Cook S4 lineup and the Zeiss CP3s. Right now we have the Cook 14mm on, and we also have the Teradek bolt-on so we can feed the camera signal into the bigger director's monitor. In terms of lighting, we have two Airy M18s and an M40 on set. Now these are HMIs, so we can actually tweak the frequency of the bulbs, which means we won't get any flicker even in these high frame rates. And we're shooting the M18 and an M40 through a 12x12 silk, and we have the other M18 on the other side shooting through a 6x6 silk. So the idea for this commercial was to shoot an epic Black Friday store fight where everyone is just super greedy and tries to bring home as many phone cases as possible. Now you might think that for a project this size where you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars just on gear rental, the pre-production must take at least a couple of weeks or even a month. And well, the sad reality is that we only had 1 week to write the script, schedule everything and shoot and edit the video. And during that week I had another Phantom Flex4K shoot where we were shooting some clips for Facebook ad campaigns. By the way, the behind the scenes video of that shoot is dropping right after this video, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, the time we could spend on this video was more like around 4 to 5 days at max. So yeah, here's how everything went down. Originally, we wanted to shoot this commercial in a real store with proper set design, and the sad thing is that this time budget wasn't a limiting factor. We just didn't have enough time to pull something like this off, so we settled to just rent a studio and do the set design ourselves. This is the progress we had the day before the shoot. So we had the studio and all the gear rented, but with no set design, and we also did not have any extras to actually be in the video. Thankfully, I had a small team behind me trying to deal with these problems, so I could focus on finalizing the script and making sure we are all set filmmaking wise. At the end of the day, I had to cross out some things from the script, but other than that, we were all set, or at least I thought. So the day came when we had to shoot the commercial. We arrived to set around 7 AM and immediately realized that all the shelves we wanted to use as set design were still in boxes. That put us back about 2 hours because we manually had to screw the shelves together by ourselves. But I was real smart when putting together the schedule, and I actually calculated with something just going completely in the wrong way. So we were still good. After screwing the shelves together and putting the boxes on them, we could finally start setting up for the first scene of the day. The first scene was pretty simple. I wanted to get an effect where the phone is levitating and the hand just reaches towards it and tries to grab it. So we did 2 takes, one with the phone on a stick and with the actor's hand, and one without anything, and in post I just had to mask out the phone and use the second shot as a clean plate, and that's it. As simple as this shot sounds, we still managed to spend over an hour filming this. Now, one thing to know about these super slow motion cameras like the Phantom Flex4K, other than they are really expensive, this one was like well over 100K, is that they don't actually record to external storage, at least immediately. So how these cameras work is that they have an internal RAM like any other computer out there. This Flex4K I think had 128 gigs of internal RAM, and when you record the clip, the camera saves that footage to the internal RAM, and there you have to set an in and an out point for the clip that you want to actually save out, and then it takes around a minute till it saves it out to the external Cinemax. And then you have to clear that RAM so you can record again. Also, usually these cameras work with an end trigger, which means that the camera is always loop recording, and when you press the record button it saves out the last couple of seconds. For example, our Flex4K with the 128 gigs of RAM could save out around 10 seconds in 4K 1000 FPS and could save out 2000 frames in HD for 20 seconds. So yeah, you have to be careful to press that record button after every single shot, because you can easily lose perfect takes. Not that I've done that, but you know, just good advice. But getting back, the second shot was probably where we did the most takes, because there were so many moving elements and everything had to be perfect, because mistakes really start to show when you slow the footage down this much, but after around 10 takes we finally got it. And after this it was already lunchtime, which was really disappointing, because at that point we only had 2 takes and it felt like half of the day was just gone. But thankfully after this things started to speed up and we managed to shoot the next 2 scenes in less than an hour. These were pretty simple scenes. I shot both of them handheld with minimal movement, and the short story here was that one guy just pulls out 2 Nerf guns and shoots the other one who's trying to pick up as many cases from the shelves as humanly possible. One of the girls had to leave, so we shot another easy scene where 2 girls are just fighting on one box and one of them falls back. We did bring a simple mattress, so that's how we did all the stunt falls. And after these shots came probably the most critical one, where we wanted to break a bottle on someone's head. Now obviously we didn't use a real glass bottle, there's something called sugar glass, which as the name states it's made out of sugar and it breaks super easy, like you have to be careful to even hold it in your hand, and this is what they use in every major Hollywood movie where there's a scene like this. We did kinda mess up the first 2 takes, they weren't bad but they could have been a lot better, so for the third one we decided to go all in and fill the bottle with some actual water, and that just made it perfect. After the sugar glass scenes, we did a couple of shots with the Grinch just wiping up the shelves, and the fun fact that for these shots I had to go handheld, so I decided to go with Vlogs and actually walk with him, and this scene took around 20 minutes to record, and during that 20 minutes we completely killed the 190 watt-hour Vlog battery. Like before I thought that red cameras were power hungry, but they don't even come close to this one. But after a quick battery swap, I mean if you can call a 2-minute boot up time quick, we went on to shoot the rest of the scenes, and this is when things just started to go wrong. In the next scene we wanted to throw a cake in someone's face, so we rehearsed it for about 30 to 40 minutes, so everybody knew exactly what they had to do, but then came the live shot. So I was really watching the main girl's movement, and I don't know why, but I thought that she just started a bit early and I wanted this take to be perfect. So I started shouting to stop, 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 let's do it over. But for some reason she didn't stop, and I was just standing there with the camera instead of doing the rehearsed movement while everything went down. We did have another cake on set, but her costume just got dirty, so we couldn't do another take. After this I thought that the whole shoot was ruined and I just couldn't think clearly for the rest of the day. We did finish all the shots on time, packed everything, and then the shoot was over, but the project was still far from finished because there was all the post-production stuff left. A weird thing about this camera is that you actually need a licensed software just to be able to read the files on the Cinemax, so all the offloading was done by the rental house and I received all the footage a day later. Now both Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve can actually open these files since they are in a .cine extension, but you can't change the raw properties, and to get the best quality video you wanna change them. So what I did is I had to import all the footage into the Phantom Camera Control app, where I changed the raw properties I wanted to change, and then I needed to export them in ProRes. This process alone took around 6 to 8 hours. Luckily after this the editing was pretty simple. I did everything in Premiere Pro and After Effects. I basically just used speed ramps on all of the shots. I did that simple masking in the beginning, and I did jump into After Effects to create that 3D floating title with the help of Element 3D. But that's it. The only challenge I had in editing was time, because I had to edit this whole thing in one day and then export out 8 different versions for the different countries. These deadlines were far from ideal, and I think the final video really suffered from it, but yeah, no excuses. Here's the commercial.
My dear, the forecast ain't clear, so will you please light my way and lead this old man's sleigh? I said, Rudolph, my friend, once more will you lend your red nose, or heaven knows how this sleigh ride will end.
So here's a couple of things I learned from doing this project. The first is to spend a bit more time on planning things out and coming up with the concept and viewing that concept realistically. I think we could have come up with a concept that is easier to shoot while being more entertaining. The second is to expect the unexpected and really try to prepare for every situation. For example, before the shoot, both of the camera's SDI ports died that actually transfer information. So we had to use an SDI port with no info readout, and that resulted in a lot slower workflow. Overall, I'm really not satisfied with the outcome of this project and I'm kind of depressed about it. But when I try to view things from a third-person perspective, it's even a miracle that I was able to finish everything on time, and considering that I wrote, directed, edited and shot the whole thing, it's really not that bad. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this, if you even like the commercial, or if you don't, what are the things you think we could have done better. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Make sure to rate this video with a like or a dislike if you hated every single minute of it, or if you have a more complex opinion, make sure to drop a comment down below. I answer every single one of them. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I see you guys next time.